right, greetings. I guess this is Black Tuesday for some. I haven't looked at the results. I don't know if they're still bringing in results, probably because it's still. Either way, I guess the red wave is on its way. I guess, but that's not what this is about. So this is about the reptilian political mind control games that are going on at this time. Guess the divide goes from left to right, back and forth. All that nonsense. So eventually we'll evolve out of that. And obviously, there is a reptilian. There's Archon. There's everything you can think of. The kitchen sink is trying to break us up. Break up humanity. But that's what those that are in an awakened state now. Obviously, it's not easy being awakened because you feel like. Imagine many feel like they're at a certain level where they're just ready to evolve and just leave this world. It's like I don't need this world anymore. This is their test, not mine. But you can say you're here to keep a door open to higher dimensions, which is hard. Not that you have all the answers. There's you don't have to have all the answers. You just at a certain level where you don't fall into all this nonsense that's happening right now, like the political nonsense. Eventually, so this goes into like the Earth Galactic Forum. That's one way. I just had to put Galactic in there for the sake of it. But that might also happen in a few. Basically, I just see us going to like more of a Greek type of council. Like either two political parties or all the political parties die. It's not going to be a communism or anything like that. No, it's just more like more of a discussion forum. More of a that might not make a whole lot of sense, but it's more like a place of ideas. I'm not trying to control everybody. Obviously, we're not there yet, but yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like China telling people, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's more ideas to come through, so we can hear each other out. Basically, look at it that way, without an agenda. We have many agendas. Basically, Washington D.C. will probably fall into the ocean because its purpose in life is gone, and other places for that matter. Berlin might explode. Who knows? Because its purpose is now over. Now, when that happens, is it's up to humanity. It can happen 100 years, 1,000 years. Who knows? It's basically also the how I think this came through yesterday about how we like you do the job that you want, the work that you want to do. And there's always going to be some people that don't want to do anything, but that's for their own growth, their own healing. But if you're doing what you want to do, in your life, it brings out a new energy within yourself. Like you have like superpowers, you can say, and you get a lot done, probably even doing very little. So it's just that we're, you live longer, you're just at a different vibration altogether. Let's put it that way. It's just a more loving environment. Obviously, this world has trouble getting there. There are beings here, like reptilian beings, that are trying to keep everything locked down for obvious reasons. Well, it's a game. And those that say it's not a game know what the hell they're talking about. Just there are people here that aren't aware that they're being screwed with, meaning that you say it's a game, they say it's not a game when it's actually a game. And try to some do play on both sides of the spectrum. They're just trickster beings. I don't always realize that they're tricksters, but there's definitely tricksters here. So, it's basically all the political stuff to finally heal, so we can connect more to ourselves and evolve. Obviously, those that need to go through this political stuff is their own growth. Even if they say it's not growth, it is growth because why you're experiencing it, you're experiencing it for some reason. Obviously our world has not graduated from that yet. So that's the other thing about spiritual graduation. I believe many are actually at that level. I said many, I didn't say everybody. Well, you know who you are. Basically, you don't feel like you need this reality for your growth anymore. But you're here, and that's what makes it hard. Basically, like you're ahead of your time. Now, obviously, some feel like they're ahead of their time and they live in fantasy land, and more power to you on that one. Delusions of grandeur and more power to you on that one. Who knows? If that makes you feel better, that's great. But there is a spiritual graduation where you don't need this earth experience anymore, but you're here to bring your knowledge here, which is very difficult. Like you feel like you're 100 or 200 years ahead of time, or maybe more than that. Obviously, there's always going to be somebody that feels like they're 1,000 or whatever. It's just then the ego kicks in. Gotta love that. But we are going into a time of more of an awakened state eventually. But the reptilian frequencies there is just to divide us, obviously. Of course, you have the quotes and all that, and I mean, some of them are just not going to evolve. I mean, they're evolving, but they need some kind of leader, obviously. So more power to you on that one. But maybe the spiritual graduation, maybe there's just very few that are here too. On a spiritual level, is like you're ready to evolve off of this world, like you don't need this anymore, but you're here for a reason. There is a few out there, a good amount, let's put it that way, and others that I don't know, feel like they are, but they're nowhere near it. It's that gets complicated there. So going to the reptilian mind control energies. Tap into that frequency. I guess we go to the reptilian energies. They're just here. Their mission here is to make us crazy. You see the administration that's there right now. They're just there to divide us, break us down, make us go insane. If that wakes you up, that's fine. Or describes. I think they prefer you to go insane. I think that's what they're really out for. They want to win. So. And for us to win is to find some kind of ground point. Because when you get to a level, like you feel like you're completely losing it, I believe a lot of that means that you're actually getting somewhere. But can you handle it mentally? It's like, that's the hard part. The waiting, whatever it might be, it's tough. Like the more evolved you get, it feels like the more harder things get because like this isn't your experience. This is the experience of others. And it feels very alone. And, you can't even talk to others. Even if there are people that are awakened spiritually, they're still infighting. They want to know about the Andromedans or the Reptilians or the Palladians. They want to know about their civilizations and all that. And that's great and everything. Sounds like fun, I guess. But the idea is to help this world evolve into what we need, basically. So, like they say, you go to a job you want to go to. That's for the collective. If you don't want a job, that's okay because the collective is at a frequency that it's all right as long as we're keeping our frequencies going at the right direction. It really doesn't matter if you work or not. It's like, so what? Your work is vibration. It's just energy then, which keeps others going. And you just, as long as you're doing what you want to do, that's what we're heading into. Now, when's another story? A few thousand years in the future, who knows? It could be, it's up to the collective. Eventually, the human collective here will realize the political system here is kind of, I don't know. I mean, like their politicians are sent from like a black hole to our world. Of course, this world is kind of a black hole. It has elements of it. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone planet. So it's a flat Earth. It's a Twilight Zone world. It's a circle Earth. It's everything. Chaos planet. And so on. So, but yeah, that's what we're heading more to a utopia eventually. But like I said, that evolving is pain. It's just painful, as many know that already. I don't have to tell you that. There's different levels of pain, but spiritual pain is sometimes the worst because, like I say, you feel like you don't need this reality anymore. And how many people are thinking that way? It's like if they want like to be rich or live a lavish lifestyle, but others that have developed spiritually, it's like, okay, I think I've accomplished what I need to accomplish as a human. What the hell am I doing here? There's a lot of that. That's really hard. That's probably one of the harder lives because you're here and you're here to send vibrations out. It's not always clear why you're here. I mean, that's a hard. It really is hard internally. It really is because it's just you don't feel like this world really does anything for you anymore. Of course, many, like I said, have felt that probably since they were kids and all that. Yeah, you can go on and on with that one. So yeah, tell me about it. So when you're 4 years old or 5 years old, and said, "Man, I feel like I'm old." So I'm talking comic private sessions. Scheduler. We have a shop here. I don't know where I'm somewhere in October. We also have the Sedona trip coming up. And there's also a special deal. It's on the community page. And I'll do a video about this tomorrow and do a channel energy. I'm going to try to do more promotion for this, like upcoming trip. Also, the webinar coming up tomorrow. The social network behind the scenes. I think that's it. That's it. Okay. All right. Yeah, this whole political nonsense. Yeah. Well, obviously they take us from one subject matter to another. Of course, we have a hurricane heading for Florida right now. Why not? Yeah, to keep us moving. Go from one subject matter to the other. The story continues until we figure things out. So we can't figure everything out. You figure out what you need to figure out. Good luck on knowing everything. Yeah. Well, those that feel like they have like the knowledge of the origins of the earth, I'm not sure if any of them are correct, but if you feel like that's correct, that's fine. Whatever. But I'm not sure if we're always allowed to know that for certain reasons. So, all right. Okay, we're going to the reptilians. And they're, going to their perspective. Like that's, we'll see what we can go with that. Or how far we go with that, and the Galactic Forum and spiritual graduation. Okay, blessings. Grease you. We are the reptilians, at least on a more neutral, positive level. There are reptilians that are sent to your world that are, yes, master trickster beings. And just like gameplay, like a video game, like some people here on your world play video games and they can master this, they can get through that level. Well, there's alien beings that are sent to this world that can keep your world shut down. Keep you, play your planet. Obviously, as you become more aware of this, well, you do get to a certain level. Like you pass a level, you're allowed to know certain things. It might not be a lot, but you get to a certain threshold of your experience where they can't hide everything from you because you earned it. It is really about earning your powers, keeping your sanity in some form or another. Yes, when you're getting closer to your incarnation goal, they hit you with everything they got. Depending on who you are, depending on what you're here to achieve. If you're to awaken and unlock others from their darkness, obviously there's some penalties there, meaning they're not going to make it easy for you to awaken others. And not just to, just there's different agendas here. There's some have their different ways of looking at things, but basically just helping others evolve on their own. Help them decipher their knowledge of this planet without you having to say a word. Just help them, come out of their darkness, clear out their blockages, let them figure things out. If they want to go into occult frequency, that's where they feel comfortable at. They're not quite ready to connect to themselves just yet. It's a little bit frightening, as some of you know. Some of you are used to the astral realm. Some of you can easily bring in alien energies and not have a problem with it. Most of your collective is not quite ready for that. And it would be kind of ignorant to think that your society is ready, because it really isn't. But you're preparing it for it to be ready. Yes, there are beings here that are not going to make any type of alien disclosure easy. But some of you, that's why you are here, to help it become easier eventually. Yes, to take the beatings, the spiritual beatings, the mental beatings. And obviously, others are not always understanding that. They have their own challenges, but they're not realizing how deep this can really go. Because you're going to a spiritual development where, yes, you don't have to continue in this path that you're on today. In the future, basically, eventually political parties will dissolve. But obviously, the reptilians that built it, of course, it's Anunnaki energy. Obviously, they're having a blast keeping humans locked in. But the reptilian beings here are growing also. They get part of the discussions too. Some of them do. They're amazed how humans are so passionate, and it does get a lot of alien energies to understand it. Because when you get to a higher level, you do have passions, but it's just not the same. It's different than have a physical passion. You have passions, it can actually be stronger here in the reality, but it's amazing how certain individuals here find certain passions and certain subject matters in their lives. If it's politics, if it's love, if it's education. And yes, you can do that at higher dimensions. But here on a physical level, many do become obsessed. And in the higher dimensions, you become obsessed at a certain level, but not like here. So the alien beings get obsessed with keeping control over your planet. So the alien beings that manipulate your world integrate into your society. Basically, they incarnate here. Like they get kind of trapped here themselves. They keep you in the system, and then they incarnate into the system to keep you here. So some of your politicians, for example, are reincarnated politicians or reptilians that have caused difficulties here. And I wonder how they rise to power so quickly. Or if you're the ones causing the difficulties here, it's easy to get to a power position. you just rise up the ranks just like that, because they're the ones that built it. So they keep you shut down. So make an interesting movie. So to give you a more clear view, now some of you have already seen this, but we're just basically bringing this more out. So if you have, it's not just reptilian beings or other beings. We have alien beings, for example, that manipulate your reality. Then they incarnate as humans once again, and then they move up the political business to keep you shut down, and they continue to incarnate over and over to keep you, in prison until you awaken. So that's what you're here to figure out. Yes, people are eventually shape-shifting more. They can't keep the facade going anymore. Obviously, their world still has a long ways for that, but some of you are ahead of the curve, and that is extremely difficult. You're so far ahead of the curve. You're almost going to drive yourself insane. But that's why you came here, to help others evolve, and yourself to see if yourself can do it. It's like, can I handle this? Can I sustain my energy? So, blessings. Greetings, we are Galactic Federation from your Earth's consciousness. We're just here for a few moments. The reason why many of you do incarnate here, because you've had a lot of experiences here. So some of you have, you can say, seniority. And yes, you built much of the structures of this reality. And it wasn't as hard. Now you're going into more of healing the amnesia. Yes, connecting more to your galactic selves. It's hard also, but we feel like it will get easier over time because the galactic beings will feel more comfortable connecting to many of you on a higher level. Now, some do see beings, but still have not matured themselves. Like they can't really exist here without seeing beings. Like some just need to see them because they can't handle the third dimensional human reality. Yeah, so like teenagers, it might be adults, might be in their 60s or 70s, but they're still kind of teenagers in the long run. But some of you have incarnated here for a very long time, and it brought seniority here. You brought a heaviness here, but you kind of know the game. You might not know all the details. Yeah, it's an ancient one. And some of you know that. You've incarnated here many, many times. It's like, yes, it's this again. And you don't have to look at it as seeing helping the children. I mean, some do act like children, but not everybody is a children here. It's just society has been taught to, be at a childlike state. But it's more to it than that. But some want to feel like humans are children. Uh, but that's not always the way to look at it. There's different ways. Some just feel better looking at it that way. But basically, it's just a society that's been ripped from its core, ripped from its inner knowledge, the galactic connection. It's been severed, and many of you are reconnecting it. It's not easy to reconnect it. Yes, humans will abuse it, of course, but for this galactic roundtable that you are forming here eventually. But first, you have to learn from communism, all these dictatorships. You are learning it now, but you're learning how to heal them, which you're doing now. Sometimes you have to go through them to heal, but not everybody has to go through it. Healing the slums, like in India, Africa, China, healing the poverty frequencies. Of course, with poverty, healing the poverty frequency is a little bit tricky because when you heal that, are those people that have been through that poverty situation stable mentally? Because some of them will just get violent. Some of them will live in society normally, but others won't. They're already living a violent path already. Sometimes they're kept impoverished for a reason because it can be worse if they weren't impoverished. So it's just under healing those wounds of the earth, where yes, more people become equal. That's going to be a difficult one. That's why the ascension is going to take some time. Just healing these problems here, obviously being as you bring more of the galactic frequencies in, the reason for it is to solve, answer some questions within your own lineage. You feel like you can't get all of your answers here as a human, as a physical human. You know much more. But it doesn't mean it's the answer to everything. Some of you connect to the alien galactics, and it's like, what have you done to our world? And some of you are already seeing that. See, the aliens cause a lot of destruction here due to their own insecurities. So there's a lot of wounds, but at least you're connecting more to the galactics on willing to heal those timelines. So this is. Brings you. We are the Andromedans, sending you energies. Our society, our worlds aren't. Yes, we have worlds similar to yours, but we have been taught to, lessons of your world to keep our vibrations going. Because many of those in our civilization have been sent to your planet because they cause a lot of difficulties similar on our world, but they've done it similar what they're doing on your world. They've done it on our world. So this world is a wake-up call for many galactic beings. To not lower our frequencies. We're given a great deal. We're given everything. And can you sustain it? It's the toughest test of any world that's being developed, no matter if it's physical realm or not. Even higher dimensions are known to abuse those realities constantly. So your world is a major wake-up call. That's why it continues the way it is, because there's many beings have not learned the lessons of your planet. Some of you know that. Not that you're here on punishment. Some might feel that way. There are some souls that just need this for their growth. It doesn't always have to have a clear definition. Which is you come here to know more about yourself and to help others to know how bad it can get. How low can a soul get? Obviously, there's different dimensions where it can, but this world, it's kind of like those church groups that go to the worlds that are very that are third world countries. That's a lot of aliens come to your world kind of like that. It's like they come here, it might not make a lot of sense why many incarnate here, but it's here just to assist for you to evolve. And yes, many do fail. Not that they feel like they're better than your planet, they just feel like they can add to your society to assist it. But those that incarnate can sometimes get attacked, not be understood. It's like going to a third world country to assist, to bring better food, better water, better life, and then everything goes to hell. So incarnating here is how many beings. That's one way of looking at it. Obviously, there's 1,000 other ways of looking at it. But when this universe also has a lot to learn from this planet. So as you become more aware of your world, you get to a certain level, the universe will become more clear of how violent it is. And they do keep their vibrations at a fourth and fifth dimensional level. And there's a lot of alien beings they're kind of arrogant. And they keep your world as it is today. But many of you are, yes, not to judge and to evolve spiritually. Which many of you actually have graduated, but you're still here because your energy is needed here. So you have graduated from this earth, actually. Some of you already know that. Some of you have graduated before you incarnated here. But this world needs your energy. We also you need to learn a little bit more. You call it extra credit, you can say. That's probably a better way of saying it. But many of you come here because the world just needs you. It might not make a whole lot of sense. But when you see it from an astral level, this world obviously is destroying itself, society-wise, morally, and you're here to bring some kind of enlightenment to it as much as possible. Yes, it's up to society to decide, and it's hard because when you bring in knowledge here, it gets rejected a lot. Of just basically the lessons here don't have to be lessons here. You could just evolve, but many are stubborn. Not everybody, but quite a few. And obviously spirituality is seen as negative, and some are kind of wary of it still. And so it makes it difficult to get more of a message here. And there are beings that cause a lot of difficulties here, of course. They just, because they're not ready to evolve themselves. A lot of them are in the fourth dimension. But they like the world the way it is. And to them, this is home. Keeping your world, as chaotic, as long as it stays at a physical level, your world will be always some kind of physicality. But obviously, negativity. Basically, yes, where you're heading to is where you can go in and out of your body very easily. You can do it, but it's a little bit different. You do it through sleep, but where you can leave your body very easily, connect to the Galactics very easily, come back in your body, have all this knowledge, be able to build a better society, and just make things easier for everyone. And not to get weak, but just to, like the energy of love to keep your world, sustaining itself. Obviously, love here has been, fractalized, ruined almost at certain levels. I mean, there is a love-hate relationship on it, dude. Some have a twisted way of looking at love. Like causing chaos here is a form of love for some beings. And that would be some of the reptilian beings. There also is those other beings involved. So do as you must for yourself, of course. This is